get ready, man, for sure. And don't quit, because the road is not how you may have seen that you paved it. It's gonna have some bumps, turns, skips, potholes, bruh. It's gonna have all of that. Just be consistent on what you want. Don't quit. Let me tell you something I figured out recently, actually. A lot of people give up because of repetition, because repetition just gets boring. Repetition is actually what brings a lot of success, because you are able to be consistent and you're able to not give up on the same thing. Being able to do the same thing for such amount of a long time is what brings like a lot of positive feedback. I had to do the same thing. I had to have the same routine for a while until that routine kind of just clicked. You know what I'm saying? It's not about finding what works. It's about doing the same thing until it works. Got to be able to be different as well. Stop trying to take the idea from somebody else and then use the same idea in your own way. Use your own idea. Be organic. There's a lot of just oversaturation where it's just a copy and paste thing. We have enough of that in this world. We would like to see what you could actually bring to this world. And you are one out of 100 trillion people on this planet. Dog, we don't know what your image look like. Your image and my image look different. So we want to see your image.
What is your earliest memory connected to skating or street culture?
My earliest memory connected to skating was, I don't remember how old I was, but I was watching Ryan Sheckler. He's actually a super popular name right now, and or he was, whatever. Uh, and I was watching him during X Games, and that was around the time YouTube was being created or whatever. And I started watching him, got really interested in it. I don't know what it was. It just connected me. I felt a connection like no other sport, and got hopped on YouTube, started watching a bunch of skate videos. And I think that same year I asked for my first board. That was probably it. That was history.
Okay. What kind of kid were you growing up?
I was definitely one of those kids where the teacher was like, "Hey, your kid is talking way too much in class." And I was just that. It's kind of funny now because, as a kid, I was talking too much, and as an adult, people would like for me to talk a little bit more, but give and take. You know what I'm saying? But I was definitely one of those trouble kids. I'd gotten my own fair share of trouble when I was younger. Went to the principal's office, ISS, detention, alternative school. Had some. I got some fun stories. I wasn't. I wouldn't say I was a super bad kid. Like I still had like morals and what, like I still had hospitality. I just I just didn't like school or bullies, and I went accordingly. I treated that self accordingly.
Okay. Was creativity a part of your life early on?
Yeah, creativity has pretty much always been a part of my life. As a kid, I was playing with action figures, kind of creating a storyline different than what the original storyline was. That grew into I wanted to be an author when I was younger. I used to write my own stories. I still have those stories actually now somewhere hidden. I used to write my own stories as a kid. I wrote a bunch of just different short stories for like superheroes and just fairy tales and things of that nature. I carried that through middle school and then into high school, like flip, whatever, is when I started getting into the art aspect, like illustration aspect of it. And at a young age, I pretty much figured out that I'm not good with a pencil or any writing utensil. Like I'm not the best with it, but I definitely have a better image when it's in digital. When I have when I'm able to take a bunch of things from a bunch of different things and then make an image from it from and that created the image that I have in my head. It's a lot easier. So getting into digital art is what I moved into in high school, and I've kind of just been doing that back and forth. I've worked on my penmanship since, and getting a little bit better where I'm able to take the picture for that I draw and then get it into the digital art. But that's always kind of been, I've always been creative in my life. Started off young and grew into a bunch of different things.
So when did fingerboard work
Fingerboarding was always just this small thing I was doing in my life. Like I started skating, and then a year later, I picked up a tech deck, and then that turned into a whole bunch of things. The tech deck specifically, I had that for years, and I was just collecting. Rather than just collecting, I was actually using the boards I was collecting. So I didn't really care for how big it was back then. It was I was having so much just learning tricks with my fingers and things of that nature, throwing this board around. Like it was more fun with just that. Like I didn't focus on how big fingerboarding was or things of that nature. I was literally just focused on having fun and learning tricks and whatnot. And then, excuse me, after I started my company Tricky is when I actually realized just how big fingerboarding was and is bigger now. But I realized how big fingerboarding was, and it was more than just a tech deck. That is what kind of like catapulted my vision and the level of how important fingerboarding is in my life, just because I thought it was like a self thing, like a bunch of other people do it for sure, but it's not like a collective thing. And to see that it's a collective thing in this community, there's a bunch of people that do it, and it's kind of like a secret hobby kind of thing. It's been pretty dope. Yeah, it's been pretty dope.
So what was the first? Was the first version?
The very first version of a tricky board was a paper fingerboard, an 8-layered paper fingerboard made out of index cards and Elmer's stick glue. Man, it was the bare minimum, and that was actually how I started my company. That was the first generation of tricky fingerboards, not just the first fingerboard, but I still have that too, and it's probably like 15 years old now, and it's a paper fingerboard, 8 layers. I think the very first graphic was gold with a Sharpie and a black marker and just a hand drawn tricky graphic with some skate grip on the top because I skated it.
Okay, so where were you when the idea really clicked?
Uh, I don't have a set time. I just say when I was younger, I was watching my older brother. I was watching my dad, and he has his own car audio business. I've always watched him and his steps in having the business since I was young. I've always wanted to have a business basically since that kind of clicked in me. I just didn't know what kind of business I wanted to have. I picked up skating. I realized that I wanted to have a skating business when I was young. I kind of started doing that, tried to do it my own way. Realize even nowadays that the skate industry and trying to have a skate brand is hard no matter which way you go, unless you're literally just going to throw money at it. So kind of had to put that on ice until it kind of melted and died off into any whatever substance they wanted to go to. Fingerboarding, however, um, I just started making. I was making paper fingerboards like for fun, and then it. I told myself like, hey, I want to have this fingerboard company because the skateboard company is not really working out. Like financially, I can just kind of make the fingerboards on like a lot easier and a lot less, and I can do it in house. And I can also like control production and graphics and things of that nature. So on the back end of everything, I would be learning everything on the back side of the skateboard industry, just a miniature version of it. And I was in high school, probably like freshman, sophomore year. And that's when it really clicked that I wanted to have this fingerboard company. It took me about 6 months of just like, okay, what am I going to do and how am I going to do it? And then like a full day of just coming up with a name for the company. I went through Star Alliance. Those are all names that were taken at the time. And then literally my favorite PS2 company, I mean, my favorite PS2 company, my favorite PS2 game is SSS Tricky. And I literally just wrote the word Tricky, typed up the name Tricky Fingerboards. It wasn't taken. So I used that. It's funny because the definition of tricky is of something or of something required a difficult or like of something of difficult that requires skill. and that's like the perfect definition of fingerboarding as well. So I thought it was funny. So the name fits.
John,
I had a lot of people doubt me just because they didn't understand the vision I had. Uh, it's very understandable to get doubt and haters at the beginning of anything. They just don't see what you see, and they don't understand what you understand, and they don't know what you know. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because on the other edge of that sword that you do have that knowledge and you are understanding, and it's like a me versus the world kind of thing. Like you have to be able to break through that. With the doubt, it came self-doubt, because I was just thinking like maybe I'm getting in over my head with this stuff, and I'm like, I'm just like, maybe they are right. Like it won't turn into be anything, but I was also enjoying myself way too much to just give it up at the time. Like there are times where I feel like the business aspect of it won't do well, but I still enjoy making the fingerboards as a hobby. So and then creating as a hobby, and then I just post what I do, and then other people tend to like that. So there's a lot of give and take when it comes to that. That was just the beginning of it, like doubt, self doubt, haters, and then like trial and error was definitely the biggest one.
so that made you almost quit.
Well, I mean, within the last few years, I got robbed. That was definitely one. I got, and the reason why I say that specific scenario is what almost made me quit is because it took me back then. It I didn't there wasn't a lot of wheel companies, like specifically, and it if you wanted to build a collection, it took you a while to find who had said wheels and then to get said collection. So it took me about a year and a half to get that wheel collection, and I just so happened to pick up the wrong backpack going into work, and it had all of my fingerboard stuff in it. Thinking that not much of it, I'm like, okay, chill, I'm just gonna take it back home. 15 minutes before I got done with the last part of the job, somebody broke into the work van and took my book bag full of all of my stuff. Mentally, I was just done, because it took me so much energy, so much time just to make that collection of wheels and all of that stuff. That was actually the most stuff I've ever gotten, like, in fingerboarding at that time. The most money I've had spent in fingerboarding at that time. The most amount of quote like products I've had at that time. And it took so long to just build that, and it was just all gone in a second. And because of that, and where my mental was at that, it was a good mix of, okay, I'm just gonna fucking give it up. And that was one specific scenario. But I posted about it, and a bunch of the homies was like, "Yeah, we don't want to see you go." And they sent me a bunch of stuff, and they literally saved my mental space at the time, because I was broke, not willing to spend money on it, even if I got money, and I just didn't want to go through putting in that much energy again. But they like resparked my candle when it came to that little scenario. So I thank them for that one.
Was there a moment when you knew this was going to work?
I wouldn't say there was a moment. There has been just moments that have led up to this just working in general, if that's the best way to put it without being cocky. Um, there's just been a lot of things that I myself said or just thought would never happen in my life. Even like doing this and building a following and things of that nature that have been proven wrong. And those feelings and those scenarios and those scenes, all of those have just led up to what it has been. It's never really clicked saying that it's going to work, because on the backside I've just been enjoying what I've been doing on the creating aspect. So like the business just does what it does because of that, you know. uh but the moments where I thought it would never happen, like things would never happen, like nobody in store is randomly gonna notice who I am, or like nobody's gonna watch these videos or buy my product or things of that nature. Those were things that were proven wrong, and leading up to where I am now, it's just been like this would probably be the moment, like, okay, this is gonna work, you know. This is going to work.
First sale.
It felt amazing, actually. I don't think I've ever like publicly said this, but I went the entire first year just creating, and I wasn't getting any sales. I also wasn't focused on getting any sales. I think I was still making paper fingerboards at the time, and then my first sales like is when I switched to like wooden fingerboards and things of that nature. So I was just focused on creating. 2015 is when I launched. 2016 is when I got my first like order, and it felt amazing. Just after probably like 8 months was when I was like, okay, maybe I should like start thinking of business and things of that nature. And I started doing like advertisements, really wanting to get like boards out the door, I guess. And it just wasn't hitting. And then after I started changing up my business, and it finally just clicked. I just got one, and it sparked the fire in my stomach with gasoline, dude. And I'm talking about it sent me. I felt amazing because going into business, people are always like, okay, they're always looking for like an order, looking for like revenue, and looking for like that traction. And if you're really not in it for the back end of it, then you will not enjoy it in the long run. Like you have to really have a passion for what you do rather than just making the money off it. I always see it as like they always say, like if you enjoy what you do, then you'll never work a day in your life. Well, if you love what you do and it's able to bring you money, then you're going to live a long and happy life, pretty much.
So how did that mindset shift? How did your mindset shift after?
I definitely had to focus on business more. it was it's been a fun trip because a lot of the things, or pretty much 90% of the things I've learned, has been self-taught, and me just researching what I've been curious on and how to go about certain things. Uh Never thought I would be as curious as to learn how to maintain a company and things of that nature. Never thought I'd be curious about a lot of things I've taught myself. Uh, Definitely had to figure out how to be like, give yourself exposure and what it takes to do said things. Self promotion is probably harder than getting sponsored because of how much you have to put out rather than what you have to do when you're being carried. So it was a lot of, I have to change myself and then change the structure of how I do things for me to be able to do and go where I want to go. So like a lot of the combos that I've posted throughout the last decade have literally just been because I have to self promote, not really because I'm trying to be the best, or like trying to do something weird. It's just because I had to self promote.
So what makes Tricky different from any other?
Tricky is not focused on money or the like aesthetic looks of anything. It's literally focused on connections and the enjoyment of a hobby, which is fingerboarding. I'm not focused on like selling 100 boards in a day or anything like that, building like the absolute perfect fingerboard. I am focused on like literally enjoying. Yeah, the decks may not look the best, you know what I'm saying? But hey, these two hands made it. I don't have a router. I've never used a router. Some people can't say that, you know what I'm saying? Um, I really do enjoy what I do on the back end, which makes it seem like I'm in it for the money or I'm in it for something else, but it's really just about the connections and the enjoyment. I love getting messages saying that the board feels amazing after you bought it and set it up. I love getting those messages. I love seeing those comments. It's been so overwhelming just to read all of that positive feedback. That is what's different. I'm not in it to you also won't have to wait 2 weeks for me to ship out your deck. That's not happening. So that makes another difference.
So what does the culture behind your brand look and feel like?
The culture behind my brand look and feel like. It looks like a bunch of people that love to enjoy the hobby, and it feels like a bunch of people that love to enjoy the hobby. That's pretty much the best way I could tell you it. Just I never really thought about that one. That one's a good question. But if I had to put my finger on it, it's definitely just a bunch of people that like to smile, laugh, and enjoy their time. No hate, no negative, anything. Just enjoy life and take it as it is with a positive mindset and a grain of salt.
Is this more this
As of years ago, it is. Yes, it's not just a fingerboard anymore. It's more of a lifestyle. It's also like on the back end, you have to be healthy for you to be able to do said things for a long time. You can't just be throwing yourself at certain things. Like there is certain things you have to carry yourself a certain way. Can't just be an asshole to everybody or anything like that. Like you do have to be positive. Also on the business aspect, you have to be professional. So it has been a little different vision than before, or what the standard I would see.
so what's your vision for this brand long term?
My vision for the brand is just to hopefully to help everybody and be able to give back. Honestly, to be able to do do what other fingerboarder companies wouldn't think about doing. I wouldn't say wouldn't be able to do. I would like to pave the way. That is it. I would just like to pave the way. And hopefully what I'm bringing to the fingerboard industry in the next few months will change how fingerboard companies carry themselves and what they do and how they go about business and what they're able to give back to the community.
So what do you want people to take away when they see your work?
Enjoyment. Look at this as on the back end, somebody actually loves what they're doing. Not, hey, this person is trying to advertise this product just so he can take money from my pocket. Because that's not what's happening. I always say, hey, if you don't want to buy the board, you don't have to. I understand my shapes may not match the style that you have. That is understandable, okay? And I'm not gonna sit here and try and make a million shapes just to try and find it so I can take your money. That is understandable. Go find the board that fits you. But just know that if you do pick up a board from me, I 100% thank you from the bottom of my heart, because each and every board is made individually by me in these two hands. Nobody else has been doing this. Nobody else has had their hands in this. Nobody else has pressed the tricky board. It has only been me.
So what's the dream 5 years from
My dream 5 years from now is I would love to have a team, some AMs, some pros, some people on flow. I'm paying the AMs, I'm paying the pros. They're making some decent money. They're putting out some good content. The company is doing well, you know what I'm saying? And then everybody also wants to get on the team just so that they can expose themselves and then make their own kind of money and then do and whatnot. And I'm hoping that everybody I have on the team is one of those people I put on the team where they're like, hey, I'm retiring. I would like for this person to take my place on the team. And I'm like, hell yeah. Then we can keep that going and it'll be a generational thing. And then probably like 10 years from now, I'd say, or so, I could possibly pass this whole thing down to my nephew. If not, then I'll keep it going, whatever it may be.
now? If the younger you could see what you do now, what do you think you'd say?
I say me 10 years ago, he would possibly cry. I mean, I was a little, so yeah. He would cry for sure. He would not think any of this is possible. Literally everything. It's been a blessing because everything that I've done up till now has been something that I have dreamed about 10 years ago. Like all of the things pretty much I've done in my life, I have dreamed about 10 years ago. And the dreams that I had 10 years ago were basically to me unachievable. So he would definitely be so stunned, crying, just, I can't believe this. Oh my gosh, can I get your autograph?
So what's one thing people don't see that's behind the scenes of all this?
I struggle like a lot. And I guess people are going off based off of social media numbers, and I just want everybody like 100% transparency. I do not make a living off of anything that you see on social media. I never have, and that is not really the plan to. My plan is I would like to get paid so I can pay other people, right? The the percentage I have, I'm not really making a whole bunch of money. I'm just making sure I make enough so I can get the work done and keep going about that. Everybody else is where the money is getting sent to. That's what I would like. I do struggle on the back end. Like people think, oh, you're selling decks because it says sold out. No, that graphic sat on the site for like 2 years before it sold out. I just want you to know. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is not what it seems on social media. Like I'm not selling decks hella fast. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? All of the work that I do on the back end is real. If you see me make 100 boards in 1 week, that is real. Nobody else is doing that. Just want y'all to know that, all right? You know what I'm saying? But I also have a full-time job and a life, and I deal with my own personal things. So I've always put out positive things on like the Tricky page, and I've always say stay positive, but I do deal with like negative things. I have dealt with like dark times, you know, myself. So there may be times where I just don't post, or I'm just like now I'm just not liking photos on Instagram or anything like that, and I literally just have my focus in one thing right now rather than having my focus spread out into multiple things. But I am just a person like you. I have social anxiety just like some people. So when I go out to these events, and it may come off that I may seem cocky. I'm literally just anxious. I am no better than anybody else.